All right, thank you very much. Now we have a quantum devices lab at UCF. We call it Q Lab. And today I'm going to talk about the quantum photonic devices in silicon for scalable quantum technologies. So currently we're interested in generating and sensing single photon sources, basically quantum light. And we're also interested in quantum materials and nano-optical devices. For teaching, semiconductor devices, solid-state quantum technology, optics, and photonics for optoelectronic devices. I have listed several accomplishments and awards, but I'm very excited to talk about several of my breakthrough activities that we have done before. So the very first one is we demonstrated the first scale invariant single mode laser, a laser that can maintain single mode lasing regardless of size and the power of the laser, which was a challenge first since the first laser was built back in 1960. We also recently demonstrated the first all-silicon quantum light source by integrating single photon emitter, silicon-based, with silicon nanophotonic cavity with almost 100% atom cavity coupling efficiency. Recently, we also discovered a new single photon emitter in silicon by fabricating laser pulses, which is programmable. And interestingly, this work has been highlighted, and also this is actually reported in National Quantum Initiative Supplement in 2025 budget. At QLab, so the first test that we're working on, we call it integrated quantum light sources. So in this case, our interest is in silicon. It's because silicon is the most scalable platform, and that could actually give us intrinsically scalable single photon sources. And we work on several color centers in silicon. And interestingly, silicon is indirect bandgap material, and all those defect centers, they emit they introduce defect energy level inside the bandgap of the material. As a fact of that, we get all the single photon sources in the telecom band intrinsically. So that's really important for building a scalable quantum network. We're also integrating those single photon emitters with silicon photonics devices. And we're also interested in spin photon interfacing, which is really important for scalable quantum networks and quantum information processing. In our another thrust, I call it nanophotonics-based quantum sensors. And so what we're doing, we're developing single photon sensors purely in silicon, in telecom band as well. So we know that silicon, it cannot really absorb photon in the telecom band. So it's limited to the visible band only. So we are engineering silicon in such a way so that we can extend this photonic absorption all the way to the telecom band. And we are introducing these nanophotonics nanostructures on the surface of the silicon so that we can get enhanced light matter interaction. That will help us to get highly efficient devices. Basically, detection efficiency could be more than 90% at 1550. And we can get a very high timing resolution, basically less than 50 picosecond timing resolution with low dark current. So our motivation is to build a scalable quantum network. These days, we're all excited about quantum computer and quantum computation. Quantum computation could give us like 100 million times faster computation power. But the thing is, those computers are all isolated. We can't really transmit those quantum computer data for long distance. It's because we don't have any network for that. So quantum network is basically a network of many quantum computers where we can actually receive, we can send and compute and data, information, which is encoded in quantum states. And that could enable us highly secure data transmission, quantum cryptography, and also cloud computation. In our case, what we're doing, we are integrating single photon emitter with silicon photonic devices to get basically highly efficient integrated photonic qubits. That is, photonic qubits can be nicely coupled with this quantum network, where in this quantum network we have many quantum nodes. So this quantum node can actually receive these photonic qubits, it can process it, entangle it, it can correct it, and send it to the another node. So the node could be like quantum repeater, quantum relay, which are really helpful to transmit for a long distance. So we can also store those information, quantum computed information, in coherence time of this electron spin. So which is basically quantum memory. At the same time, we can also do photonic qubit-based quantum computation. It's not only this quantum optical fiber-based quantum communication. We're also thinking about free space quantum communication, where we can actually send this photonic qubits to the space in quantum satellite. We can do the entanglement processing. We can send it back to the ground station. So in this case, to achieve that, for the single photon sources, we need to make sure that they are intrinsically a scalable platform, and they should be telecom emission blend, so that we don't need to do the frequency conversion. We should have bright light sources to send long distance. We should have a spin degree of freedom for several important applications. There are several qubit platforms as of today. It could be quantum dots, color centers, trap ions, photonics, superconducting, and cold atoms. We are particularly interested in color centers. So the color centers are basically the defect centers in solid state material, and they can mimic the optoelectronics properties of a single emitted atom. And they actually emit single photon. And there are many platforms on that, like NV centers in diamond is very common. There are also silicon carbide-based color centers and two-dimensional materials-based color centers. Those are all interesting, and there are a lot of exciting things that are happening, but there are also challenges. The first challenge is scalability. The other one is more related to the application. For example, for quantum network, all of them, they are limited to the visible emission only, maximum in near infrared, but not in the telecom band. For the quantum network, we need basically in the telecom band. So unlike all of those, in silicon, we have some novel single photon emitter. Basically everything, all the color center, they emit single photon in the telecom band. Starting, including one of them, which is called C center, is like very close to 1550, which is where we have lowest attenuation loss. So in silicon, also the most scalable platform for semiconductor manufacturing is because of the CMOS compatibility. So this is why we're very excited about this single photon emitter in silicon, and we're actually interested to work. So recently we have integrated such one of those single photon emitters. It's called G center, where we have 2 carbon and with 1 silicon. We integrated this G center with silicon nanophotonic cavity, in this case photonic crystal based nanophotonic cavity, and we demonstrated that we could still get the single photon after integrating that one. So this is second order autocorrelation function. At a 0 delay, it shows clear anti-bunching, which is telling us that we have a single photon source. At the same time, we can also generate them on demand by sending like millions of pulses per second. We are also interested to enhance their emission and the lifetime property. So what exactly we're doing is basically integrating the single photon emitter, and we try to enhance their emissions. In this case, we managed to get almost 30 times emission enhancement. At the same time, we can also reduce the lifetime to make those sources extremely fast, so that we can transmit for a long distance. So in this case, we reduce almost 8 times. In another project, we call it programmable novel color centers. We discovered new color centers in silicon, basically the CI center, just by using femtosecond laser pulses. So when we apply basically the femtosecond laser pulse with lower intensity, we could nicely generate those novel centers, CI center here. But when we apply the higher intensity pulses, we could actually nicely erase those. So basically, this writing and erasing is possible. That's why we call it programmable. Interestingly, these again telecom emission is more closer to the best wavelength 1550, and it is very bright light source. And it has actually spin degree of freedom. It has a ground triplet state, and it's also very simple atomic structure that is really helpful for manipulation. So there are a lot of challenges. So creating those single photon novel centers, we still need to understand the pros and cons. So how we can actually get benefits out of those for different applications. The other thing is we still need to understand how to create those single photon emitter deterministically. For example, in one of our projects, we had to create like hundreds and thousands of those single photon photonic devices just to get like one single photon emitter. So this is something we need to work on, and we also need to do the spin photon interfacing in silicon single photon emitter platform. So in our short-term plan, so what we'd like to achieve, we would like to develop integrated single photon source with the spin photon interfaces. So our goal will be, to find a novel color centers which are more closer to the base wavelength, like 1550 nanometer wavelength. We want to understand all the fundamental properties, spin properties, and we would like to build them by integrating with this photonic devices. The another platform that we would like to develop in short term is a telecom band single photon sensors with a very high performance. In this case, we would like to engineer the silicon in such a way so that we can actually get a very high absorption in telecom band purely in silicon. And we want to integrate these nanophotonic devices so that we get a very high detection efficiency and a lifetime and timing resolution. So once we could achieve those milestones in short term, we should be able to build all silicon quantum photonic circuits by monolithically integrate getting those quantum light sources and single photon detectors. Everything on chip, purely on all silicon. And that will help us to achieve the on-chip quantum computation, QKD, quantum teleportation, and also the quantum sensing. This is really important for the national security, because this will enable very strong cybersecurity and also robust and scalable quantum computation. So currently, we are having several collaborations from industries and national labs and academia. I would like to have many other collaborations to achieve those goals. And we're in touch with several agencies. We'd like to have support from DoD and DOE, NSF, and also from industry to achieve those goals. And I would like to thank all of my previous advisors and collaborators, and also the funding agencies. And I'll be happy to have questions from the audience. Thank you very much.